Hello everyone, welcome to Express Drives. Right, gone are the days when you had to spend lakhs and lakhs of your money to get yourself an off-road machine. Today, under the 3 lakh mark, there are plenty of options. Two of them are here with us today, the Royal Enfield Himalayan and the G310 GS BMW Motorrad. In fact, one of them is under the 2 lakh mark.
So well, that actually makes the Himalayan almost 1 lakh rupees cheaper than the BMW 310 GS. Now the real question is, if that's the case, why are we pitting these two bikes against each other? Well, as it turns out, there are plenty of reasons that we can cite. So let's begin.
You know, the last motorcycle that I rode before the nationwide lockdown was this one, the 2020 BS6 Himalayan, and I'm glad that it's back in my hands. Now, to give a little overview of the motorcycle, now in its BS6 guise, it's still powered by the same 411cc single pot engine. The power has decreased very minutely, which is really negligible on the way it responds. Other changes include, now it has a switchable ABS, so you can switch it off on the rear wheel. The button for it is right here on the instrument cluster, which is similar to how it was before. Other change is the side stand has been fixed a little. It used to be a problem parking it at rough terrain, say if you're traveling in Leh, but now it doesn't really happen anymore.
The G310 GS is the most affordable motorcycle in BMW Motorrad's ADV lineup. The bike primarily rivals with the likes of the Royal Enfield Himalayan, the KTM 390 Adventure, and also the recently launched 250 Adventure.
Powering the 2020 BMW G310 GS is the same 313cc single-pot liquid-cooled engine that retains 34 HP of power and 28 Nm of torque in its BS6 guise. This is the same engine that also powers GS's naked sibling, the G310R, and also TVS's flagship Apache RR310.
When the bike was launched in India for the very first time, many criticized it for its higher price tag. And then BMW Motorrad took all that criticism constructively, and with the BS6 update, this bike got a staggering price cut of Rs 64,000, and the bike is now available at the dealerships for a price of Rs 2,85,000 ex-showroom Delhi.
The Himalayan in its BS6 guise certainly offers more refinement than its previous model, and the overall vibrations are now better controlled. However, past 4,000 RPM, you'd still feel them plenty.
The engine refinement levels on the 2020 BMW G310 GS have gone up, but the engine still feels a bit gruff in the lower revs, and once you cross the 2000 RPM mark, the engine starts to show its true character. The engine packs a super strong mid-range, and 4 to 5000 RPM is the sweet spot where it feels the most lively.
With most of the torque available in the lower RPMs, the Himalayan remains very composed at low speeds in city traffic as well. The GS, on the other hand, offers a very sprightly response. It is quicker as well, which is also thanks to the fact that the GS is a massive 27 kilograms lighter than the Himalayan. Now, a great thing about the Himalayan, I reckon, is the riding position. It's very comfortable when you're sitting on it, be it off-road or on the road. But what I have to mention here is that when you're standing on the foot pegs, it's a lot better than what it is on the GS. I reckon that's because of the handlebars. They're set higher, so they're well within the reach in comparison to how they are on the GS. It's more of a sporty thing going on with the GS, I reckon. You would agree with me on this.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Abhilasha on this. While the GS is a fairly comfortable motorcycle, the riding position is relaxed and easy. The handlebars are wide, the seat is very much comfortable. But I completely agree on this part that, you know, in terms of comfort, the Himalayan wins on this particular point. Now, talking of the standing on the foot peg and riding part, well, you can't do that very much comfortably on the BMW 310 GS. Well, the reason being the handlebar positioning. The handlebar position on this bike, well, the handlebar is set slightly lower, and hence when you're standing on the foot peg, you have to literally lean forward to reach the handlebar, which is not very comfortable and confidence inspiring at the same time. Now, talking of the suspension setup on both these motorcycles, the BMW G310 GS first.
BMW seems to have worked on the damping, and while the previous bike used to literally feel like a boat on the road, the new BS6 model is relatively better in this aspect. Thanks to this, the bike just glides along the tarmac, absorbing regular undulations. But if the suspension setup was a bit on the firmer side, it would have been more confidence instilling around high-speed corners.
Right, so you really have some problem with the suspension setup on that bike. We're gonna swap and see what I think about that bike, because the last one I rode was the BS4 version. Anyways, coming back to the Himalayan, the suspension setup on this feels just right. Not too soft, not too stiff while you're on off-roading or on-road long distance touring. Long distance touring, well, this motorcycle does it effortlessly. I have done some long distance on it and was rather very comfortable. You've done it too, and you agree with me? Yes, he does. But I'm not convinced that the GS will make a very good long distance tourer in comparison to the Himalayan.
Well, maybe that's because you haven't done long distance touring on the 310 GS. Well, I would certainly take the BMW 310 GS on a long distance ride, but the only condition being not much of off-roading should be involved in that ride. So yeah, talking of the touring capabilities of the 310 GS now, well, the bike is definitely a comfortable one, and you can do speeds of 110 to 115 kilometers an hour effortlessly all day long with this bike, which is, by the way, also thanks to an additional 6th gear as compared to 5 gears on the Royal Enfield Himalayan.
All thanks to the slip and assist clutch, the gear shifts on the BMW G310 GS feel a lot smoother compared to the Himalayan. On the other hand, the gear shifts on the Royal Enfield here feel slightly clunky, especially when you shift from first to second.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think the 310 engine would be a better deal for highway runs. Now, about the Himalayan, I reckon the sweet spot for this motorcycle is 80 kmph. That's what I've thought. It sits very comfortable at. There aren't many vibrations. The engine does not feel like it's under a lot of stress. You don't really have to give a lot of throttle input either. But it'll do that for the entire day if it has to. No problems there whatsoever. If you're going to go past 100 kilometers an hour, which it'll do about 120 of top speed. But past 100 kmph, vibrations tend to set in, and I think they are quite problematic. I mean, you don't want to do that. So keep it under 100, and that's where it remains the most comfortable.
Yeah, I completely agree on that point. And by the way, this Royal Enfield Himalayan is with me for a little over 1 month now, and I have clocked like thousands and thousands of kilometers on this one, approx 4,000 kilometers in 1 month. So what I have personally felt, that one interesting point here though, the 80 kilometers in our cruising speed is absolutely right, but what I have realized is the fact that once you are done doing above 100 kilometers distance on this bike, the Himalayan can accommodate a better cruising speed, and that cruising speed now gets close to 100 kilometers an hour.
While the Himalayan's braking has improved over the previous model, especially on the rear brake, it still feels a bit squidgy, and the GS does offer a much better bite at both ends. However, of the two, the Himalayan is now the only one with a switchable ABS.
So now that we have tested both these motorcycles on multiple parameters, in the last, here is one point that will be very relevant to many of you. That is the design. So talking of design, well, the 310 GS here is hands down the better looking bike of these two motorcycles in this comparison review. So to put it into simple words, well, the BMW a GS should look like. Absolutely fantastic. And the 2020 model, well, there are no major changes in the design language. In fact, the core design language is the same as before. However, this new model looks very much fresh and new, all thanks to the new paint schemes. And our personal favorite out of them is this rally color option, which looks great, by the way. Apart from that, you do get some new features. For instance, this all LED headlamp with an LED TRL strip, and The turn indicators are LED too, and they do look great, by the way. So all in all, the BMW 310 GS clearly takes its design and styling inspiration from the larger members of the GS family, and hence it looks absolutely smashing for me. Now, coming on to the Royal Enfield Himalayan, Abhilasha, what do you think about that bike? That looks like quite basic and like minimal. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna come to this. See, I get it. The Himalayan is quite a simple looking motorcycle when you pit it against the GS. However, bulb and turn indicators which aren't LED, but it does have hazard lamps, which the GS does not. Overall, I would say it's a strong looking adventure touring motorcycle. It looks capable. I don't need it to scream that it is capable. I just need it to know that it is, and which it is. It's a very minimalistic design, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I like it.
Nothing's wrong with the motorcycle, but I guess something's wrong with you, Abhilasha. What has happened to you? Like, are you growing older before your age, or have you turned out into a minimal millennial? Well, what has happened to you? Like,
Kids these days.
now to sum it up, the BMW G310 GS is a great road bike, and it offers a handful of more features than the Royal Enfield Himalayan. And these features are these all LED headlamp along with upside down front forks and adjustable clutch and brake levers. The BMW in this comparison looks outright fantastic, and if you are looking at one of the ways to bring home a BMW, well, that's the bike to go for. But
the Himalayan, I think, offers a much more wholesome package, because at this price bracket, it offers a bit of everything. Ease of city riding, highway runs, long distance touring, and this is definitely a more capable off-road machine than its competitor. And all of this at a price which is smaller by a staggering 1 lakh rupees than the GS.
so should you spend almost 2 lakh rupees and go for the Royal Enfield Himalayan, or should you spend 1 lakh rupees more and go for the BMW G310 GS?
It really depends on what kind of riding you're looking forward to. If you want a comfortable but capable off-roader, a versatile motorcycle which puts function over form, it's got to be the Himalayan.
But if you want to look absolutely great while doing some of the things that the Royal Enfield Himalayan can do in exchange of rupees 1 lakh more, well, that's the bike to go for. If you like this video, hit the like button.
Consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching.